Hello everyone! Today we're going to be looking at some more unreleased Transformers, though this time we are going to be focusing on the Transformers Universe line. This was the repaint line that came out in 2003 and stretched in one way or another all the way to 2008, and this was pretty much the first line that we got that kind of started the trend of multiple Transformer lines at the same time. Previous to this, we had Machine Wars as a one-off wave of stuff for KB Toys, and that's about it. But this was mass retail. This was all over the place, sitting beside Armada and Armada and Energon. So this was a pretty big deal and kind of the start of the market getting flooded with all different generations and styles of Transformer. So when you are a repaint line and when you are kind of early in your lifespan, you're going to have a lot of toys that were conceived of, planned, or even prototyped, and never quite made it out. So that's what we're looking at today. All of the Universe toys that got canceled or got recycled and ended up somewhere else instead of their original planned Universe home. And we start with, oh boy, we meet again. We have to stop meeting like this. We really do. Truth be told, I actually really like this deco on Hotshot. I genuinely do. Like, if I have, like, a holy grail of unreleased toys, this is it. And there are a few prototypes of this actually got out. So yeah, this is Armada's Hotshot done up as G1 smokescreen. And I actually think it works pretty well. I actually really like how this one turned out. This was supposed to be part of a planned Battle in a Box 2-pack. Battle in a Box was a Kmart exclusive multi-pack. And yeah, back when Kmart was actually not only still alive, but also relevant and popular enough that they actually did get in their own exclusive Transformers still. This was going to be one of them. Universe, sales-wise, never did that great, though. So a lot of these got canceled just because all the other exclusives were still sitting around. And the Battle in the Box sets will do that, too. When two of them have, when they have toys like Armada Smokescreen and Armada Sideswipe amongst their repaints, gee, I wonder why they failed. But his pack-in was supposed to be Drench, done up from the Armada Wheeljack mold. Now, this is supposed to be a Decepticon take on Drench, the way he was in the Euro G1 lineup. However, this one does see a new light of day. This actually became the inspiration for Shattered Glass Sideswipe in the actual BotCon releases. Of course, the deco is fairly different from this. It keeps most of the vehicle mode color. The robot mode is quite a bit different. So you can see the intention, but this is how it was originally meant to look if this had actually been a release 2-pack, which is kind of a shame given Hotshot and Wheeljack's connection in Armada. Would have been kind of ironic to have a versus 2-pack of them as completely different characters, but it is what it is. I actually kind of like this one too, but yeah. That Hotshot's like on my I will never own it, but I would love to list. Moving on. There was another multi-set, actually two more 2-packs, and these were the Halloween horrorcons. I presume, yes, a Halloween special was going to be a thing for Transformers for a while. The first one being a Transmetal Waspinator repaint called Waspinator. I know. In later times, the names Parasite as well as Skywasp would end up being attached to this particular figure. And thanks to Buzzworthy Bumblebee, we can actually enjoy these color schemes on a modern Waspinator. So, hey, he lives on a little bit, which is kind of cool. This is a fantastic mold, by the way. I'm such a proponent that there are so many great missed opportunities with this mold that they never did. But yeah, Transmetal Waspinator, still a cool mold. Joining them in this lineup was going to be a redeco of Black Arachnia, as you can see, and it was intended to be Black Arachnia specifically, not Tarantulas or a new character. Strangely enough, the Predacons in this were supposed to just be, normal Predacons in just different colors. So name dumping was a thing. They had to keep the names relevant and the trademarks living, so it was supposed to be Black Arachnia. This one, however, was completely out of nowhere. It is a Beast Wars mutant who was actually going to be up. This was supposed to be Leatherhide, doing a more obviously a blue color scheme for the mutant Soundwave. This is actually kind of a shame. This one I actually don't like that we lost, because I once upon a time wanted to collect the mutants until I found out that Soundwave was 100% gold plastic and was completely GPS prone. Which is kind of a shame, because it's getting an alligator out of a bat, I think, is actually a pretty good engineering job. Okay, credit to whoever was doing Animorphs. This one actually wasn't such a bad idea, and it's fun. It's a fun little toy. I would have loved to have gotten it in a non-fragile plastic, but alas, this is all that we got. Also, I just kind of like the name Leatherhide, too. The more infamous one, and the more relevant one right now, is Night Prowler. So, yeah, it's Cheetor as kind of like a snow leopard. And guess what? We actually did get this one as a modern figure. Right now, as of this recording, you can go out to Walmart and you may likely find it hanging on the pegs. Kind of a cool thing. The deco is noticeably different. It lacks a lot of the metallic elements and some more of this like pale cobalt blue that's going on here. So it's a little bit of a plain deco, but Night Prowler does exist. And if you want to recreate a HorrorCon duo with your Skywasp, that is actually possible now. So, like, hurry it up with the Black Arachnia and then figure out how to do Leatherhide. Good luck on that one. Not helping you there. Here's another one that was going to be a mass release. So, the mold that was Thunderclash was actually going to be reused for Menasaur. It was supposed to be Motormaster. Hasbro couldn't get the rights to the name Motormaster, so it was solicited as Menasaur. As you can see here, it's a completely unpainted prototype, so this is as far as it got before Universe got the axe. It's interesting to me because the mold had already been redone once as Machine Wars Optimus Prime. So to double dip and go again with a mold like this is actually interesting to me, because there's also there's plenty of molds that they never got around to in Universe, and this is a weird one that strikes me that of all toys they would do like Motormaster / Menasaur. It's an interesting choice. Let's call it that. I'm not too sold on the color scheme. I think the paint definitely would have helped things going on here, but the colors look a little bit bland to me, especially for Universe, which is known for all those like super bright pops of color. The yellow here is all I'm getting. Everything else is really dull. It might just be prototype colors. Maybe the final deco is going to be different, but this is as close as we would have gotten to some kind of amalgamation of what Menasaur was going to look like. So use your imagination. Similarly, we had another Optimus Prime that was going to get redecoed. This one is far more famous. This is Toxitron. Obviously, G2 Laser Optimus Prime redone in a very toxic color scheme. It's a fun color, isn't it? It's a fun figure to turn it into like a toxic waste truck. And I kind of like the idea of like trying to get an Optimus Prime to look as un-Optimus as possible, and not go into like Scourge territory. So this is a very vibrant deco. Does not really approach Scourge. This is just like a fun idea I really thought should have seen the light of day. And in this case, RID Scourge was 2001, so not only has a few years passed on this, that was a store exclusive. So getting this one out again at retail, I think would not have been a bad idea. I guess the same thing applies if I'm thinking about the Thunderclash mold, but this is a better mold, let's be honest here. This one actually has knees and elbows. So this is actually, this is actually a lost treasure, I feel. And Toxitron's gotten plenty of love over the years. There's been a couple of, there's been a few ways of getting a Toxitron toy, so who knows? We've got a Laser Optimus Prime just raring to go, and Hasbro, who loves doing selects releases, online exclusives, etc. I wouldn't be shocked. I would not be shocked if Toxitron made a return at some point. Beside Toxitron, there was this interesting redeco of Jetstorm from Beast Machines, the Ultra Class version of the mold. And again, this is something of a lost treasure. Aside from one, I actually really like the colors on this one. Also, like, there's no chrome. I really liked this mold when I first had it, but the chrome cracking and flaking so easily really ruined this toy for me. I would love to have had this thing clean, pristine, in a color scheme that was never going to dissolve on me. So I feel like we really, again, kind of like Leatherhide, I feel like we missed out on something. I love when molds come back from what was a doomed version of them originally and then gets redone into something really cool that is going to survive the test of time. You know, I feel that way about things like Armada Predacon, which was the way of doing Transmetal Megatron. Weird color scheme, but you get to play with a really good toy that is not going to break like the original one did. I like when that happens. I would have loved for that to have happened here. Alas, it did not make the cut. So, there's a few other categories to this. One of them being Mega Dinobot. Now, you know this as an Energon toy and a past plastic addict victim. However, this was originally intended to be a universe design. For whatever reason, this was supposed to have been the only toys in the universe line that were completely new molds. I guess because they were so close to G1 homages, they fit better in universe as far as Hasbro was concerned, but yeah, eventually the gimmick kind of takes over. It does kind of play into Energon's theme, so it just became an Energon Mega Class figure, which is probably for the best, but again, it is technically a canceled universe toy, so I'm going to include it in this list. God. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm flashbacks to this mold. Because of this one getting shunted into Energon, that means that the only unique mold, the only mold produced that was under the universe banner was the Aveo Swerve. Irony. And that was a 2008 toy before Universe 2.0 happened. Likewise, we had Space Warp. Now, she was supposed to actually be released as a Universe exclusive and never quite found a retail location before the line got canceled. Fans really jumped on this one for some reason. Everyone got super excited over this set. So, OTFCC to the rescue. They actually did release this one, changed up the colors a little bit, gave it a new head, and released it as Astro Train. The original Space Warp version, however, never quite made it to release. Nor did any of the minicons associated with her. Now, the Starcatcher minicon, the Commodore repaint, that did come with Astro Train. The Space minicons, those were completely left out because according to Takara, all of the Armada molds were completely unusable at that point. They'd all just been worn down too much, which is weird considering A, they're right there, and B, they're packed in with an Armada mold. So whatever the excuse was, Takara said no. So we got the Cybertron Giant Planet minicons instead. Still, another odd one that never quite made it. Also never quite made it. So, PiranhaCon here, or Piranha King as this was going to be called, this was going to be a Walmart exclusive, but at the time, Walmart wanted them to put it in the Energon line because they had taken in so many universe exclusives at that point. Like this, you're talking about Sunstorm and 2 different versions of Ruination and a all yellow landfill, amongst other repaints and multi-packs. Walmart was completely loaded with exclusives for Universe. If they wanted it, if they were going to take it, it was going to be under the Energon line. And then Walmart backed out completely. So that never happened at all. This one did see release thanks to the Transformers Club again. So technically, yes, this one is out there. This one exists. But as a Universe toy, it got canceled. Now we're going to delve into the expanded Universe lineup, because Universe was also the branding that OTFCC used for all of its exclusives before it became BotCon again and the phrase timelines became a thing. And one of the most famous unused figures from that was this RID remold into Defensor, an amalgamation of Defensor with just, basically using Hotspot as a base. I actually do really like this one. I thought this was actually a really cool idea. Now, of course, it got canceled probably because it was so expensive to produce such a large mold. In fact, it was so expensive, they also conceived this dark version, the Midnight Shield Defensor. They were going to release this as well to offset the price. I don't like the look of this one, actually. I don't think the gold and red and the blue really work together that well. It just seems like a really thrown together last minute kind of color scheme that doesn't really have much cohesion to it. So this one I don't mourn the loss of this one. If you want RID Optimus in these colors, or rather I should say these colors, go look up the Titanium. They actually released him as Hotspot there. Actually, Hot Zone was the name. And it kind of gets the same concept across. Now, there are some that only made it to artwork. DevCon here, from Energon Slug Slinger, for instance. DevCon is a weird situation where it is a Transformer character who got a full episode devoted to him in the original cartoon, but has never had a proper toy devoted to him and his design alone. DevCons do pop up. There were multiple attempts to make a DevCon in OTFCC, and none of them really quite made it. I know we got a DevCon at some point offhand. I cannot quite remember which one it is, but as an original toy, never happened. And I actually think this one was pretty close to being like a really good idea for how to produce DevCon. Likewise, the last breath of BotCon actually did give us this unreleased character. So it was going to be, obviously is Transmetal 2 Megatron using the Gigatron mold from RID. And yeah, it works really, really well. And this was supposed to be a figure like 2003, 2004, somewhere around there. Sat on this idea long enough that eventually they got to use it for the last year of BotCon. So, good on you. But it was going to be Universe. It's not Universe now, so hey, it doesn't make the cut. These I thought were fun. So, they're also going to be, they're also going to try and use all some of the Omnicons from Energon in order to make some figures as well. And I thought these are actually clever ideas. So the first one, of course, Brawn, new head, new Hulk hand fists. And this is just pretty obvious. I think this makes a pretty easy Brawn, and I think that works really well. The fun one is they're also thinking of doing Roadbuster out of it, which is a bit more out there, but I also think using the weaponry of the toy makes a little bit more sense for him than it does for Brawn. And likewise, they are going to produce new weapons for him, give him some more rifles, and, so he's a little bit closer to his original incarnation. I think both of these are really fun, clever remolds. I'm not sure why they never made it, because this seems pretty easy to do. Now, beyond that, Universe does have just a handful more that never made it out. A distributor actually leaked a list of what was going to be 4 deluxe retail releases should the line have continued. And the names on those listings were Sonar, Optimus Primal, Optimus Minor, and Thrustor. And it's an interesting 4 names. Now, Thrustor, we can pretty much guess, was going to be the Cyber Beast released in America. They did that for Hellscream as Overbite. We don't really know what these were going to be, though. Were they placeholders? Did they indicate what it was supposed to be? Sonar and Optimus Minor were basic class Beast Wars Transmetal 2s. They would have to have been 2-packed, which to do versus packs at those scales, Universe had done similar things before. That would not have shocked me. It's the, so I would assume Sonar and Minor would have come with like Predacon opponents. It's the Optimus Primal that just like throws everything out, because there was no deluxe Optimus Primal at the time. This was before Cybertron introduced the first one. So whatever that one was going to be, we have no idea. So those listings are just vaporware, for lack of a better term. They were things that may have existed, or maybe they were just names. Maybe it was just a placeholder, and we'll never know. But that is every Universe toy I could find that was canceled. The weird thing about Universe is there were so many concepts and plans for it that I probably could dig through interviews to find even more ideas they had that got left on the cutting room floor. I might even be able to find a couple pieces of artwork here or there that I missed. But for the most part, these are all the ones we really know about that didn't make the cut. It's a fascinating toy line, and I actually think a lot of the stuff that didn't make it really deserved to. Like, there's some actual clever ideas here that I actually really, really liked. But who knows? When we have things like Skywasp coming out, I think even this is potentially a thing that could still exist. Well, we know a new Hotshot's on the way, so maybe this will actually exist. But thank you guys for joining me. I hope you learned something, or at the very least, just got a little bit of insight about a really weird period in Transformer history. But thank you for listening to me ramble on one more time, and I will see you next time. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.